Oh,
Okay.
Ogre Magi. I guess it's a core Ogre Magi we're about to see. But my point was with AlphaX hashtag's Enigma pick, at least this time, there isn't a super heavy counter towards the Enigma, so Paulison may actually be able to just go get the farm and then not be so afraid of throwing out those black holes. And I suppose now with the Stampede of the Centaur Warren as well, you're not going to have to wait for him to have a blink up. He's just going to be able to rush in with the Stampede and actually find a black hole and make use of it every time.
Yeah, it does give you a lot more to go with here for AlphaX hashtag. This is probably one of the better times they've drafted the Enigma. It's still going to be interesting to see. Again, your Eidolons are going to be under heavy threat from that Keeper of Light. The Ogre Magi from Reality Rift doesn't quite give them that team fight control on top of the Will-O-Wisp. It does give you some decent single target control and a really long, really strong laning presence coming out here. So you have that nice durable offlaner that's just going to be a constant nuisance. I'm not quite certain if you're going to be too happy laning against a gyrocopter. He can abuse his range advantage. At the same time, Ignite's always going to be annoying, and you're tanky enough with the gyrocopter's hits are pretty meager early on that you can just run up and right-click harass him out of the lane anyway. AlphaX hashtag, the one thing about this lineup they've drafted for themselves that worries me is it's really EXP heavy. Undying Enigma support duo Mike, both of these heroes really want the EXP. Of course, more than likely, we're going to be seeing Paulison in the jungle trying to find that EXP, but that just makes it much harder for Winter and the Undying to find anything for himself. And we saw that to great effect last time. Like, he played a sacrificial Undying, and he played it as well as you could hope. It still doesn't feel like you maximize a hero in that place.
Yeah, certainly. It's gonna be an interesting game nonetheless. This last pick from Alpha X hashtag. See how they close this all off. They do still need that mid core to pop up. They don't really know what Rift is going for in their own mid lane, so it's always hard to pick up a mid in this situation. They could go for the TA themselves. I mean, TA just generally does win out the mid lane pretty easily. Of course, Rift could go ahead and pick that up once again if they wish, assuming hashtag doesn't now.
Now, I'd honestly really like to see something like the OD coming out here. I think that punishes the Spectre quite hard. It hasn't been banned out as well, so if AlphaX hashtag opts to go for that, could be pretty strong. The issue is you're going to be up against a Sky. That's never going to be pleasant for any spell casting hero. OD is going to be pretty shafted until he gets a BKB, which is not ideal. You don't want to be relying on BKB timing for an OD to be effective. They do go with the Ember Spirit, so you have that nice global presence that the Spectre has as well. You can jump around the map quite nicely, and you can really force the fights earlier on. It has some nice power spikes. It stays much more relevant into the late game as well. So nothing to say it's not going to be limited by his hero's toolkit and his hero's potential damage output being capped to a certain point. He's always going to be relevant. He has a lot of ways to scale. I like this hero coming out from Alpha X hashtag. I think they've managed to correct a lot of issues they had in their first draft, and they have so much more scaling here and so much more reliable team fight that goes into that late game quite comfortably up against the Spectre.
Reality Rift. Final pick up for them. That TA pick suddenly doesn't look very good up against the Ember, so I imagine they'll just leave that one alone. It becomes a question of what do you pick up? Nothing to say, of course. Had a pretty good puck performance last time around. He'll be playing the Ember. No puck available for Reality Rift if that's what they want. You've got the Lena though. The Lena does seem like the obvious choice here because it does work well against the Ember. In the sense that you can win out the lane against this very, very tough hero. Oh,
Zeus. There's
hello.
that global strat you were talking about, Mike. You have the Zeus, you have the Spectre, you have that really strong burst potential from across the map. This is a classic combination that we don't see too much of in pro games anymore, but it's really potent. You have good damage scaling. The Zeus scales quite nicely into the late game due to his utility, and he's amped up his damage by the Skywrath Mage. You can always count on finding that finishing damage from Reality Rift. I like this Zeus coming out. It's going to be interesting seeing it lane against that Ember Spirit. It's been a while since we've seen the mid Zeus in any form anyway. So I'm keen to see how he does against Nothing to Say. I think early on it's definitely going to be a bit easier for the Ember. Uh, Maybe easier for the Zeus actually, because that level 1 shield isn't much. But as you go on, it does get a bit costly to try to burst it down. You can still do it though. Zeus still has pretty good damage. So I'd say that mid lane matchup is actually pretty close. Maybe Zeus favored. Really depends if Nothing to Say opts to go for a Sleight of Fist to try to pump out the right click harass instead. Or if he's just going to go for that Flame Guard as usual and try to make it last up against the amazing magic damage Alacrity has. Overall, in terms of draft, I'd have to say I do prefer Alpha X Hashtags draft here. I just think they corrected the issues they had in game 1. But Reality Rift is looking really strong too. Again, that global strat has me pretty excited to see how much you're going to be playing around it.
My one question for you, John. The Zeus up against Nothing to Say on the Ember seems like a hard matchup for the Zeus. Now, sure, you can burn through the Flame Guard pretty quick, but it's... Like, once Nothing to Say is level 6, what does Alacrity do?
Of course, by level 6, it's rough for Alacrity, but again, the initial 3 levels should be towards Alacrity. If he manages his mana right and gets his positioning right, Nothing to Say should not have that much of a free run first 3 levels. Beyond that, it depends entirely on how Nothing to Say does skill up. If he's going to go for Flame Guard, he just needs to kind of pace himself with distance. Otherwise, you can kind of toy around with the Sleight of Fist. We see a couple of people go for max Sleight of Fist first, going for something like 0-3-2 or 1-3-1, and that does allow you to just get CS that way and apply some decent harass onto that Zeus. He doesn't have the best armor, doesn't have the best HP scaling as well, so that's something an Ember can abuse. But again, those first 3 levels probably going to be better off for Alacrity, just overall, just with how much you can burn through, how much how much you can always just pump out.
We're gonna find out. I want to keep a close eye. Are they talking about the name thing again? Is that what's happening?
No, they're talking about Look's name.
Ah, look.
He was like, "Why always Hakim? Like Lukman Hakim?" And I know it's just, I guess it's just friendly banter, Mike. You know, these names have been around for a long time. They scrim together, they play together. Of course, there is a sense of camaraderie even across teams, and it's always nice seeing that.
Good to see both teams in good spirits before they start this game number 2. Of course, AXH, they do still have a chance to tie it up 1-1 before we head off to our next series. Reality Rift, though, definitely want to try and take this 2-0 to enhance their chances throughout this group stage in these open or closed qualifiers. It looks like it'll be a rather passive start. AXH should be able to grab both top bounty runes and Reality Rift. They are already down at the bot bounty runes to pick those up. A pretty standard start. But the mid lane, that's the one we want to watch. It's so rare you get to see a mid Zeus these days against an Ember of all things. Nothing to Say does opt for the level 1 Sleight of Fist as well. And Nuts will be the party pooper. He does pause and disconnect, which makes you very, very happy.
Absolutely. It's been a while. Of course, it's been rather inconsistent with the pauses, but we do finally get one from RR. So, pretty happy with that. Pretty chuffed. Gonna be, again, as you mentioned, it's gonna be interesting down mid. You know, Nothing to Say up against Alacrity. The one thing I'm keen to see is whether or not they are going to be playing with those early haunts. Luck was not so active with him within the first 15 minutes. I think it took a while, and then once they start to get their groove on, they really played around that spell. But with a Zeus around, you really want to be able to maximize that early on. It's going to be really easy to find those kills as long as you have one hero nearby as well to help that Spectre out. You can really abuse those 2 spells. You have to. It lets your Spectre snowball hard, gives them so much more in terms of that early itemization. I'm wondering as well whether or not Luck is going to change his itemization up from game 1, or if he's going to stick to that same path. The same thing with Miracle. Is he going to work out for that same build? Is he going to go with something else to accelerate his farm? Who knows?
Well, Alacrity actually went for the level 1 in Lightning Bolt, and fair enough, you'll be able to secure the range creeps much easier with it. Only thing is, though, you're missing a lot of CS here with that Arc Lightning at level 1. And Nothing to Say, I mean, he would have been harassed out pretty hard with that Arc Lightning spam, but Alacrity is being very, very... He's being conservative with the mana for sure. which is perfectly fine. We talked about this earlier on and how this is how you win the matchup. But you missed basically a full creep wave for that level 1 lightning bolt. Still, he is top of the last hits board regardless, so it apparently just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a pretty good showing from Alacrity so far. I think, you know, that level 1 lightning bolt was strange, but that range creep is really important. I think he realized that rushing his level 3 is key, and not early rotation.
Yeah, Blinding Light comes in. Alacrity does not throw out any abilities though. Again, holding on to that mana. He wants to just focus down those CS first. He's not interested in trying to force Nothing to Say out of the lane. He knows Nothing to Say already has a salve available, and so no reason to waste that mana. Wait for Nothing to Say to use that salve, and now Alacrity can go back to that harassment if he so wishes. Though Nothing to Say does have Flame Guard up at level 2, so things do become somewhat more difficult now thanks to that Flame Guard.
It definitely does. But yeah, level 3 is up. For Nothing to Say, he's not going to be as distraught. Of course, you have to play around the timings of that cooldown. Alacrity can abuse that opening quite nicely, and he is. Although he is slightly trailing behind in terms of last hits. Not the biggest gap yet. It is a start.
We should have a quick look at the other lanes as well. Velo down at the bot lane. Going to be solo up against KYXY on the core Ogre. And of course, up at the top lane, we actually have a bit of a tri-lane situation going on. Miracle is there on the Gyro. He's up against Luke, and Hustler. Well, Alacrity, as I look away, does find the kill. Nothing to Say finds a trade. Suppose that was to be expected. But First Blood will go to the side of RR.
It's a massive piece of gold going away of Alacrity that does allow him to finish up his bottle and a null talisman as well. So he's going to be having a good time down mid, as all the region in the world can really abuse this Ember Spirit. But he still has to be a bit respectful towards that spacing. Searing Chains plus Flame Guard can bring you down quite fast.
He's going to try and go for it now, Nothing to Say, but doesn't go for the chain attempt. Once that Flame Guard's over, Alacrity is really abusing his powers. He does already have that bottle up as well, so he can, well, you can see Nuts coming in with the Chakra Magic, loading him up with mana over and over again, and they're just focusing on making sure this Ember becomes a creep rather than a hero. But Nothing to Say, he's impressively doing very, very well. 17 last hits, 3 denies on him already. But it won't be that effective if you don't have any regen, you've got no health left. And at this stage, I don't see Nothing to Say really being able to go forward without that salve usage.
Definitely so. It's a rough time for him down mid. One other thing I want to point out coming out from RR is that Nuts, with his activity on the map, he has also been stalking Paulson to a great effect. It's not been the smoothest farm for this jungle Enigma. He's had to share a bit of that EXP bleed to Nuts, and that just slows him down a slight bit. It's not the best thing for a jungle Enigma in the world, and Nuts is not letting off. He knows what's happening. He's going to keep tracking Paulson.
Well, this is a good play from him. We saw Paulson the other day, and if you do just follow him around in the jungle, he does tend to have a tough time trying to catch up. I mean, he does have a Gyrocopter as well as an Ember on his team as well, who do tend to favor the jungle. So it is going to be a bit rough for this Enigma if he does fall behind, because there are going to be limited spaces for him to farm up.
Definitely so. That's the one thing with Greed Alpha X hashtag brings out with this Enigma. We have seen that before. We saw it a lot yesterday. You really have to give Paulson that space. And so far, it's been okay. He hasn't died. He hasn't been really forced out of the jungle. But RR is aware, and that could play a factor as we approach the end of the laning phase.
Winter copying a lot of harassment from Hustler. Meanwhile, Miracle could be in trouble. Gets slowed down by the concussive shot of Hustler. Now the Blinding Light to knock him back even further. Luck is making the chase though. Nuts is copying a lot of damage. Now the ultimate comes in from the Zeus, but Miracle, he'll find the kill. Luck now will find the trade at the very least, but Winter, he'll end up finding Hustler. And so ultimately, it still seems to work out in the favor of the Radiant side though.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Did Paulson die from that Zeus ulti?
He might have.
He did.
Radiant's middle
Yeah.
tower is under attack.
He did. I mean, he was playing quite low for the most part, trying to tank those jungle creeps to let his Eidolons live. We do see Nothing to Say with a rotation. Does find Luck. So that does give you a bit more for AlphaX hashtag side. You're still not going to be too unhappy as RR. You are slowing down this Enigma. You are making a lot of pressure up top for Miracle to deal with. He has been dealing with it quite admirably, to be frank. He's lived true, he does his work, and he's still fine up here.
Was a nice rotation from the Ember. The thing is, Stampede, Hustler, going to be chased down with the Rocket Barrage and should be dead. Winter not going to let up either, though he could try for the deny and gets it as well.
What?
The small camp timing from Hustler, just denying himself off. And AXH going to be very annoyed with that, as they did commit the Stampede to try and find that kill. Very nice play indeed from the Skyrath.
That's just not fair. Now Miracle's way too low to man fight against Luck. Might be dead.
Well, he has Horn available on the Spectre, but he's not going to chase. I mean, Missile will come in. You did have Wrath and Thunder Gods, though. If you pop the Zeus ultimate as well as the Horn, you may have found Miracle.
Oh, that would definitely be a kill. That's rather strange from RR. Bit of a wasted opportunity, but Miracle must be counting his lucky stars. Does get away without being punished too hard. Still, though, that's moments where he's not farming up, and that does allow our Spectre Luck to have a better start than last time. So overall, the story has been kind of like that. Like, you are getting away with his greed from AXH. Paulson is still farming decently, working towards that Dominator, and then hopefully start to melt towers. At the same time, you know, you're not really slowing down AlphaX hashtag side. Reality Rift, though, they are finding their own farm better than they did in Game 1. Arguably slightly ahead of AXH, in fact. Luck is not completely shut down as the spec. The trialing on trialing definitely paying off for RR.
AXH.
Dire's top tower is under
Top lane going to be pushed in. Velo is there along with his gyro. TP will be there though from the Ogre, so KYXY wants to get started. Gets the multicast on Velo, but now the Stampede comes in and Horn as well. They hold on for this moment. Still Blinding Light, going to be great to help out KYXY. Now a secondary stun Luck, going straight onto Miracle. There's the Zeus Alacrity. So much damage. Winter trying to get back into this. It doesn't look great as a triple kill comes out for Alacrity. Nothing to say, just has really nothing to say about this team fight. He cannot really help out this early on.
Radiant's middle tower.
Just got no items, not really that high in level. Alacrity, however, can definitely do so on the Zeus. That is just another perfect engagement coming out from the team of RR.
It's just a massive win for RR so far. They managed to find these big kills, take out 2 cores, and even force out the Ember Spirit into a rotation that doesn't pay off, slowing down his farm, slowing down his EXP gain. The gameplay coming out from RR is so much more confident than it was in Game 1, so much more in control this early on, that I am quite happy to see this. The one thing for AXH is that Paulson is getting a decent push down, but is this going to be enough to really turn the tide here? Not quite. You know, he got some decent chip damage, nowhere near to finishing that tower off, and still trying to finish up that Dominator. The timing is really not that clean. The best AFK jungle Enigmas we see usually have that Dominator up by now.
So going on KYXY. Black Hole being committed for this kill. Nothing to say. We'll pick up Nuts as well across the map. But Miracle will be the one to pick up the kill on KYXY. And that'll be a very nice couple pickups from the side of AXH. Hustler going to move in on Polison. Bot lane Alacrity is right behind Miracle, going to try and help out, but now this is a dangerous situation for them as the Blinding Light Will-O-Wisp. It does come in, Alacrity, an easy kill onto the Gyrocopter. And they get out Polison, or do they? Yeah, he gets out, but you lost your position 1 Gyro. That is not how you wanted to go about that. They find the Skyrath in the end thanks to the Eidolons at the very least, so there's that. A 1-for-1 trade in the end. RR certainly going to be very happy though.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
They definitely are. The one thing right now coming out from AXH is the fact that Miracle is playing like he was in Game 1. Now, if you recall in Game 1, he was very active early on, and it paid off. In this case, I don't think you can afford to do that. The mid laner from Reality Rift is way too far ahead. You are basically just going to be sitting ducks for the magic damage output from Reality Rift. I don't think you can afford to have Miracle throwing himself out there like this. You need this guy to start farming up now. You need him to get a couple of mid-game items, perhaps a drums +1, and then you're going to be comfy. It wouldn't be too bad to rush that BKB as well. Once you have that, you're really just mitigating everything coming out from Reality Rift. You don't have anything to worry about with regards to big control beyond that BKB. Nothing really piercing through that. So if Miracle did opt to rush that BKB, I actually would not be upset.
KYXY with the Midas. Gonna start to escalate quite heavily on the Ogre as well.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Overall, do you think AXH is fighting enough off this map right now? Because it certainly doesn't feel that way. Although they may get nuts. They did smoke up. He'd be in from Alacrity. He'd be a way better target, and now the chains come in. They're going to turn around onto this Zeus. Miracle, he'll go around as well. They'll find the kill. Nothing to say will actually be the one to pick it up on the Ember. And so the tier 1 mid tower should be going down for the side of RR. Just not willing to take this team fight after the Zeus went down. In fact, Nuts is still going to be chased down by Miracle.
Oh boy.
But the gyro may have gone way too far. Mystic Flare comes out, Horn in as well, and they will punish, although they missed the Illuminate, but it doesn't matter, Hustler will find the kill. And, well, that slight net worth advantage is there for AXH. Again, though, you just did not want to lose your POS 1 like that.
Definitely not. You still managed to get the tower out of it, so it's not the biggest loss in the world still. Rather unfortunate for AXH. Slowing down Miracle's farm once again. Still though, pretty decent pacing coming out from him. Nowhere near as good as it was in game 1, and you take it luck, he is on a very good path right now. In fact, nothing to say.
Yeah, ends up going down. The Hustler Rod of Atos coming out. It was a surprise reveal. And that Rod of Atos makes it very hard for Embers to get any work done. So now, you're going to be very afraid if you are nothing to say, because every time that Rod of Atos connects, it's almost guaranteed to mean a kill until you get a BKB up, if you get one up.
It certainly is, and this is going to be rough for our Ember Spirit. He's not actually going for that Yules as well, so he is really just rushing into that BKB, which does make sense. You have to factor in the Zeus factor here, and of course the Skyrat Mage. But that does mean it's going to be a bit of a slower build-up, and if there is only so much space on the map, you are still trying to get Pulse and his items, and you are still trying to get Miracle a lot more going. So that's 3 heroes that's going to be farming up quite hard. It looks like Velo is going to be satisfied taking the riskier farm in the lane, which is fair enough. He's still set to find that Blink Dagger at a decent enough time. He has to buy and cop these ganks for his team while they try to build up.
Velo gonna get stunned up top lane. KYXY just saying hello. AXH still trying to apply pressure up at that top lane, forcing that T2 tower. Miracle trying to go after that drums. Have it up fairly soon. Look over to Polison. It looks like he'll be going for a Hood of Defiance next. Oh, gets caught out. Hustler. That Mystic Flare, so much damage, and they are going to go into some nuts, but he got the Will-O-Wisp out. Nothing to say. He remnants out, but he used all of them for that. The Zeus ultimate comes in. Luck going straight after. Well, he's going to turn around onto Winter. At least they do find Hustler in the end. Winter so down low. Luck, he ends up going down to Velo. It looks so bad for the side of AXH, but somehow they end up winning out in the end.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The big thing with that fight as well is you had Miracle there to soak up a lot of that AoE gold. He finishes up his drums from the gold gain from that. He gets a nice amount of EXP, hits his 10, so that's a plus 20 damage talent going his way as well. And that does allow him to escalate much faster, clear out these camps faster, secures himself a lot more stats in these team fights. And you're still going to be pretty happy with that. Sure, you lost nothing to say, but your Gyrocopter finally gets something for himself. And this is a pretty good back and forth from both teams. 12 to 11, less than 1k lead for AlphaX hashtag at around 16 minutes in. This is definitely a tighter game than it was in game 1 early on.
AXH. Again, positioning themselves quite aggressively. There are quite a few heroes from Reality Rift around, and Winter, again, gonna get taken down. Hustler there with the Rod of Atos. Alacrity will be the one to pick up the kill on the Zeus. I mean, it is an Undying in the end. They don't really mind dying too much. But you do want to get that XP and those levels up. And we saw it last game. The struggle to get to that level 20 mark and have the double tombstone. Right now, I mean, he's still level 9. It's going to be a long process as they are going to find the Centaur. Mello will pop the Stampede, and now Will-O-Wisp will at least help them out, but they're diving in. The side of AXH want to try and take this team fight. KYXY going for the TP right in the middle, but gets chained up by Nothing to Say. Bellows there with the hoof stomp as well. KYXY still trying to fight it out, but he does go down. The Thunder God's Wrath does not do enough to actually find any pickups. Very close, not quite there.
Yeah, Velo was right on the edge after that Thunder God's Wrath. Not, unfortunately, doesn't clean up, but, you know, if you start to build up on Alacrity at this point, if he accelerates even more, he is going to be a major threat. He already is a major threat. He is top of net worth right now. In fact, way beyond his own Spectre. Even the Ogre Magi is quite high up there. That's really down to the double Midas coming out. Of course, that is just quite potent, but you are in a very good spot in terms of net worth.
Top lane, they're going to haunt in. Nuts, he's in trouble. Nothing to Say is sticking on him, though. They do find the kill. And he won't actually haunt in, which is certainly the smarter idea. It was only Nuts getting jumped. And so AXH really pushing this game back their way, forcing this advantage. This Gyrocopter gonna have that BKB up soon as well, so that only means more fighting from him. But mid lane, they found Bello again. And it's just Hustler with that Rod of Atos making it so useful on this hero. Throwing it out every chance he gets, every time he sees a hero. And with Alacrity behind him, it's just so easy to burst anyone down.
Yeah, I'm really curious about what's going on with Velo's item buildup when I'm looking at it. He is rushing the Hearth, which is really not typical for a lot of Centaurs. We tend to see either the Pipe come out first or the Vanguard and the Crimson Guard come out first, but a Heart Rush on the Centaur up against a Zeus Sky? That does not sound like the most optimal path.
It
but
looks
it
like
does
they may
look like
have...
Paulson is going for the Pipe.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was about to bring up. It is still a very interesting item build, though. Like, even if you do have another hero getting those items for you, the Heart doesn't seem like the best kind of method to go for, but the thing is, if you get it super early, it can be kind of surprisingly difficult to work with. Perhaps that's the idea.
Ooh.
The Hustler ends up finding the Gyrocopter by himself. Nothing to Say, gonna punish him for it, but Hustler gonna be more than happy about that.
I mean, it says something about the state of the game when a kill on the Sky nets you more gold than a kill on the Gyrocopter. Hustler was worth 498, and Miracle was worth 352.
KYXY. Fire Blast will connect. Paulson loses half his HP. He'll be okay though, he'll walk out of there. Luckily for him, that Hood of Defiance does block out a lot of that magic damage. We haven't really had a look at the Spectre for a while, but Luck has been farming decently. Does have the Manta style up now and is going into the Diffusal Blade next. But once he has the Diffusal up, I mean, we saw it last game, he does start hitting a lot harder and he's a lot more effective in these fights. Looks like that is exactly what they will be waiting for. So again, you look over to Miracle, and he will have a BKB soon, though. Never mind, Hustler found him, and there's the horn. Not that it's necessary to horn. But Hustler, he is getting away with way too much in this game.
It's definitely a lot. I'm surprised that AXH is not prioritizing wards to protect Miracle. They smoke like they're trying to force something on the low ground.
Yeah, Hoof Stomp does not connect either. Will-O-Wisp is absolutely perfect. They'll Stampede out of there. KYXY looking for the Fire Blaster, one person. Can he find it? Well, the dagger flies out. Winner, he'll be the target. In fact, no, they go for the Ember first. Nothing to Say so low, but BKB and Remnant out of there. And And Winter will be the sacrificial lamb. They'll take the tombstone as well for their trouble. And it's just surgical once again from the side of Reality Rift. Nothing to say, so close to going down. He had to use his 10-second charge to get out of there.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You really don't want to be seeing that when you play the Ember Spirit. You know you have to use that BKB aggressively, but when you use that first charge for a defensive retreat, it's just not ideal. I'm surprised AlphaX hashtag opted to take that fight despite being on the low ground. Always a massive risk when you take fights like that. The enemy team has a vision advantage. Even if you had the smoke up, they have a locational advantage. They have a shrine they could go into and TP into if they need backup. It's just a strange, hasty decision from AXH, but RR does capitalize on the back of that. They are expanding their lead and really finding a lot more for themselves than they should be allowed to. This is a bit concerning now for AXH. They do have the pipe up on Paulson. I believe that does mean another smoke comes out.
Absolutely. Paulson, he still has the black hole up as well. Definitely wanting to be using it for quite a while now, as he's just been holding on to it. Just hasn't found the right opportunity. This could be it. Stampede going to be available in 2 seconds as well. In mid lane, KYXY will show himself on the Ogre.
Radiant are scanning.
Not the target you really want to go for. They don't get the chains off. In fact, they may go for somebody else, and that's Nuts on the Coddle. He'll Blinding Light and make a run for it. They may be able to turn this one around as Alacrity is there. Still nothing to say. Jumps in and cleans it up, but the Will-O-Wisp is there beforehand. But they will just walk out. Stampede is going back in. Hustler, is he the target they're going for? Maybe just a preemptive Stampede, just in case. KYXY still throwing out magic. The bot lane was pushed in by Luck on the Spectre as well. He's just been doing his job, making sure he can farm up. He's always got the Haunt to come in. And AXH, they pick up 1 kill on the Coddle. Not the biggest deal.
It's really just not the biggest punishment in the world. In fact, it might really be costing them when they take these kinds of fights. They waste their smokes. You have to wait for those to get off cooldown now. Again, you haven't thrown out that black hole yet from Paulson. He has not had the opportunity to use that spell for a while. He had a pretty good first black hole. Again, when you just use it on a single target and you know you might as well put it off cooldown, it's always worthwhile. He just hasn't had that opportunity since then. This is a stark contrast to their first game where we really saw them much more aggressive at this point in the game, just going around the map, shutting down that top jungle. They are playing it much more safe here, and I don't blame them. RR has had a better run. They've got better timings. Hustler by himself as a support Skye has been solo killing their cores. That's a support Skye with nothing but the Rod of Atos, and you just can't underestimate that damage at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he'll have a 4-staff up soon as well. So he'll be able to close that gap quite a bit more. He's got his eyes set on Paulson now. Paulson, he does have the pipe, may survive the damage if he does get caught out here by Hustler. Perhaps he won't try for it. Maybe wait for a better target. Oh no, he will come out. Few heroes there though. Hustler is going to be very careful about this, and now maybe just TP out, although he doesn't actually have a TP. Bot lane going to be pushed in. Bloodlust is going to be there on the tower, and they will fortify. So Hustler's idea is to come in from behind once the team fight starts, but AXH, they aren't going for any sort of team fight right now. All they wanted is that tower. Hustler remains in this awkward scenario in the tree line where he can't just walk out of there because he has no clue where they are. And he'll slowly but surely get his way out eventually.
It would have been pretty funny if Hustler found someone in the back lines just strapping off and suddenly burst him down. That's something that AXH has to be prepared for every single time. Oh, nice scout. Doesn't break any smoke, unfortunately. And things just go back to farming for now.
You look over to Velo, he's almost got that hard up on the Centaur as well. Could be problematic for the side of Reality Rift, as Velo is just going to be so darn tanky to take down. Nothing to say. Maelstrom is finally up on the Ember. Aghanim Scepter, though, is going to be there for Alacrity, so you've got the Nimbus coming out of the Zeus. That is definitely a bit of a power peak for Alacrity once he picks that Ags up. So there's that heart coming out we just spoke about as well. And, well, Hustler. The moment you look away from this Skywrath Mage, he finds a kill every single time.
How long has he been in that bot lane? Was it around 2 minutes now? Just hanging around by the creep wave, pushing it out and finding one kill.
Nothing to say. On Alacrity mid lane, gets the chains off. They will stampede in as well. Hoop Stomp, but Will-O-Wisp will save for now. BKB from Nothing to Say. He wants his kill so darn bad. He won't find it yet, but there it is. He does get it in the end. Now the Velo, he'll go down as well. Luck, who does he go for? He wants Nothing to Say. They don't have the lockdown. Unless KYXY suddenly gets there. In fact, Diffusal does come out. Nothing to Say has no remnants available, but they will allow him to run away. Nara looking to push in that mid-tier 2 tower. In fact, the Ember gets caught out again. Tombstone has been dropped by Winter, but it does nothing. And Luck is going to continue the chase. Winter has no way out. The Tombstone will be claimed by KYXY on the Ogre. And he just had no remnants available. I was so shocked he actually ran back in.
Not just that, but Hustler was suddenly in the area to punish that. Again, with that Rod of Atos securing everything there for RR, just giving him a massive win.
Well, Miracle, at the very least, will BKB TP away. Does manage to pick up his Maelstrom. There's a rough engagement there for the side of AXH. And RR looking to take advantage. Perhaps that bot lane would be a nice tower to go for. They don't really have their Spectre around there though. So it looks like they're just happy to keep buying Luck time. He's got a Basher up now on the Spectre, and this net worth of Luck is becoming very, very scary.
It really is. You have to take a look as well. KYXY, top of the net worth. And he has level 20 talents. The talent choices are outstanding, Mike. I love seeing this. He got the cast range, he got the damage, he got the strength. So he hits for around 200 damage each. That's no damage items as well. It's just all durability and the talents and the blood loss. Ridiculous.
No, he's only 600 HP less than Velo right now, who has a heart up and 2 braces. Kind of more ridiculous if you think about it.
It definitely is.
Going into the Aghanim Scepter next, so he will have the unrefined Hustler. You can't. That time he got punished for it.
He forced the BKB out of Nothing to Say this time around. So I guess he's going to be happy with that. I'm not sure if he was actually going for the full kill. He surely must have known about that BKB.
I suppose that's the only way you get out of that combination. KYXY gonna get spotted by Winter. Fire Blast will be there. Nimbus comes out. Winter, hell of a lot of damage being taken. But Miracle is here, but no, the Horde. Paulison does go for the Black Hole just for KYXY. He doesn't catch out the Spectre. Are they gonna be okay with this? Luck, he thinks about going back in. He thinks better of it, and he'll just walk back out.
It's a pretty massive trade. They get some pretty good kills, at the very least that very big KYXY kill from that Black Hole. Still, it cost them a BKB charge on Miracle. It cost them the Black Hole as well. So these are timings that Reality Rift can play around and can abuse if they so wish.
Have a quick look at the win probability right now, and RR 79% their way, and I can certainly agree with that. It doesn't look that way as AXH is pushing in the tier 2 tower. AXH gonna go for that mid tier 2 as well.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Just without that Haunt, just don't feel as confident to try and make any sort of play. And with that, AXH more than happily will go straight to that Roshan pit and try to claim the first Roshan of the game. But surely Reality can try to go for a counter.
They definitely can. They can at least scout out for the Thunder God's Rat as well. Although this movement coming out from them might have been spotted out. They might have smoked right outside the obs. Nonetheless, AXH does back off, so not going to be spotting anyone in that Roche pit.
They may try to turn back around AXH. So everyone's kind of split up. Miracle may be in trouble. KYXY will find him. Thunder God's Wrath will scout him out. Call down is there with the BKB. But Will-O-Wisp does find Winter on the Undying, so he can't really help. They'll take him out. Miracle will be allowed to run. That BKB will save the day. RR, do you just go for the Roshan?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They definitely could. The issue is, if you pop your Haunt, you only find that Winter kill. You're not going to be too happy, but this Roshan is not going to be living long anyway, so you might as well take it. That is going to be the first Aegis of the game, more than likely going to Luck.
It's going to make Luck so much more difficult to deal with. Just farmed so darn well this game. KYXY just going after some dominated creeps. Alacrity looks like he'll be going after an Octarine core up next. You actually finally see Paulson. He does opt for the blink, so he does have the initiation now of the black hole. Doesn't have a BKB charge, so there are still ways to cancel it off. But if you can catch, 3, 4, if you catch the right targets, it won't really matter. Easier said than done, though.
We've got the Ags up on nothing to say as well, so he's got the Remnant charges up, that added mobility, and he can just be a menace around the map, pumping out his damage.
AXH smoked up. Again, feeling like they're the more powerful team. They want to try and make a play. And Hustler, again, getting caught out by himself. Going after nothing to say. He'll force out the BKB charge, but it's a bit of awkward timing. AXH may have caught RR with their pants down up at this top lane. Luck gets caught with the hoof stomp. Now Miracle is there to follow up. Paulus in the black hole. He found both of them with that blink dagger, but it's cancelled off with the Nimbus. Not the greatest of news. They still haven't found the kills they wanted. Aegis will come back up. The Spectre, Luck going after Miracle on that gyrocopter. Will-O-Wisp doing so much work, but Luck, he doesn't have the damage output. He hasn't got the friends around him either. They'll just surround. They'll take him out. And KYXY does finally join in. The Zeus, at the very least, will TP out of there. KYXY, though, should end up going down, though. No Hustler. Mystic Flare does actually get the Ember. KYXY still tanking a lot of damage. Looks like he may end up going down. Winter trying to make a run for it before Hustler finds the magic damage he needs. And Velo, well, another mess of a team fight. It looked great for the side of AXH, but it was that Will-O-Wisp that really made it hard for them to get things done as quickly as they would have liked to. So they had to try and focus that down before they could keep going after these heroes. In the end, they do win the team fight, but they get punished by Hustle on the Skyrath.
It's still a pretty big win for AXH. I don't think they're going to be upset about that. They got the die back on KYXY, forcing him out for 2 lives and dying twice. They really have to be conscious of Hustler, but his positioning has just been on point. Just where he's at, when he decides to come in, and when he decides to lay down the hammer, has been doing a lot for AXH. Right now, Reality Rift, especially with the build-up on their Spectre, you really have to wait for Luck to get a bit more. He doesn't have the damage output, and he doesn't have the highest durability yet. So when he's surrounded by enemies like that, he actually doesn't do as much as you'd expect. Especially when you consider that he rushed that Abyssal. The damage output really just isn't anything to write home about just yet.
There's Gyrocopter Miracle. Looking pretty good. I mean, in terms of net worth, doesn't look amazing, but he's caught up quite significantly. The Satanic will be up pretty darn soon. Thundergons will scout out the side of AXH. Just making sure that RR are safe where they're farming. As you see, Luck, he does have the Abyssal up. Going into the Butterfly next. I don't believe we didn't actually see Luck go for a heart last game around, did we?
No, we didn't see it come out. He did opt for just more damage items overall, and that does kind of pay off. If you do go for the heart, you're just depending on your dispersion to do the work for you. Rather than your right clicks.
Almost finds Winter by himself. Paulson gonna stun up Nuts. Nuts with the Maleficent can't get away from this, or maybe Will-O-Wisp, he'll drop it. They're gonna try and haunt in and fight this one out. Paulson does have the Black Hole though. Nuts, he'll end up being the first to drop. Winter being chased down. Luck, he doesn't want any more to do with this, or maybe he does. Winter will go down, so it's a 4-4 now. But they need some form of disable to hold them down. Velo, he's gonna be the target. Luck a bit afraid to walk in. Rod of Atos, Hustler going after the Ember. He finds him again. Nothing to say. Without that BKB, cannot sustain the Mystic Flare damage. And Alacrity, will they get the Yules up on Paulson? Concussive shot will slow him down enough that Luck should be able to break the distance. They get the Nimbus as well. And Paulson will drop. As Hustler, he's not done. Another Rod of Atos comes out. He has Concussive in a second. He throws it out, but they are done with the chase. They'll go after the T1 tower instead.
The entire reason Nothing to Say died, he used his Sleight of Fist as the Rod of Athos was already coming out. So he didn't dodge it. By the time he came out of Sleight of Fist, he was caught. And that was it. Once again, he already popped his BKB earlier on. He was silenced up. Nothing to do.
Hustler is making his life very hard this game. Extremely hard, in fact. It's every single time you see a team fighter. I mean, now matters are worse. He's got a Hex up. So Hustler with the Scythe of Vice. He won't even have
the Hex. He's got his 25 talent. So plus 600 damage to his Mystic Flare. Oh. He didn't go for the GPM. That's surprising. He just went for the raw damage. He's been finding the kills anyway. Why not?
I mean, he's got 2.2k magic damage now on the ultimate. And that's 2 Mystic Flares. Because of the Aghanims. Sorry, he hasn't got the Aghanims yet. My apologies. But I imagine if you are going to go for that level 25 talent, you do go for the Ags because it just seems like added value. I mean, that's 4.4k magic damage. Which, of course, does seem very balanced, John. As per usual. The balance with these numbers seems amazing. But still, I agree with you. I think the plus 300 may have been the more standard option, but look at this. He's found the gyro again, but Miracle will get the BKB up. Hustler trying to run for it. He may be dead. He gets stampeded, he gets hoof stomped, and he gets taken down.
I'm not sure if he's going to be happy about that, because he wastes so much. He wastes an ultimate for that, or if he's upset because he actually expected the kill. I literally cannot tell which one it is.
Well, the thing was, the only reason Miracle survived that situation is the Guardian Greaves coming out from the Enigma. Otherwise, he would have had the damage output. It's rather interesting. Scythe of Vice will be there on Velo. Although Velo has a heart, there's a lot more damage on RR. He will get the T3 tower though.
Yeah, it's just off the back of that reflect damage. Retaliate, so it just melts. Even if you pump up the damage of that tower with Bloodlust, it hurts itself when it's attacking a Centaur, Mike.
Why are you hitting yourself, Tower? Don't do that.
Dyer's top tower
I'm curious to see what does KYXY go for his last talent. It's gonna be the Fire Blast, right? Surely it's the Fire Blast. More damage. Right now, they
Yeah,
could
he
just
did.
burn through everyone. Yeah, he did. He went for the Fire Blast. So, ooh, that's gonna be really tasty. 540 on one hit. Magical damage of that Fire Blast. If you get the lucky rolls, whoo, goodness.
A lot of damage. And
Come on.
Velo,
Show
he's
us.
going to be the test target. Hex is there. Haunt will come out. Velo will manage to get away, though. No, Will-O-Wisp is there in time as well. Nothing to say. He jumps in. He needs to take down this Coddle. He is doing a pretty damn good job of it, but that Will-O-Wisp is turning everything around here for the side of RR. KYXY still moving forward onto Velo. Well, there's the damage kicking in. Velo will end up going down. AXH, they did manage to find a 1-for-1 in the end, getting that Coddle, but you don't really want to lose your Centaur for the sake of a position 5 Keeper of the Light.
Definitely so. You're not going to be too chuffed about that trade. You did expend the Stampede as well. Of course, you forced out the Will-O-Wisp, and that's not a short cooldown as well. So you should be okay. It's just a fairly even trade. Still, in terms of worth, probably much more to RR, taking out that Cent. He is working towards his Ags as well. So once that's up, of course, a lot more utility coming out from Stampede.
Things will slow down once again as we are at the 43-minute mark now. Dota Plus has been again all over the place. 58% the way of the die, 42 side of the Radiant. Another very, very even game between these two.
We're starting to reach that point where when this kind of network gap is not going to be that noticeable anymore. It's a 3k lead for AXH. It does feel like they're playing on the back foot, even if they did take that first tier 3. RR is just a force that you have to respect. Luck is just about to finish up his Butterfly as well. Once that's done, his damage output just skyrockets. And you really have to watch out for that spec at that point. I'm wondering if at some point he will go for that heart this game. I think there's a lot of value in this, especially considering that his damage output, well, it's pretty decent with the Butterfly. Or maybe he's going to go for some sort of lifesteal. Maybe he goes for a BKB himself. It's something to watch out for.
Well, AXH, Roshan Pit is the objective. Second Roshan of the game. Of course, Reality Rift will be aware of this surely. They have so many ways of checking vision, and yeah, there's the Nimbus coming in. Roshan, though, so darn low. Do they haunt in for this miracle? No. He picks up the Aegis. He grabs the Cheetah. Now the immediate Stampede. Polison has BKB. Will commit it for KYXY. Just get rid of this darn Ogre. And KYXY still surviving through it all. He throws out the Fire Blast. He does go down in the end. Nothing to say, meanwhile, does find nuts on the Keeper of the Light, though. Bot lane, Luck finds a tier 3 while all that was happening, and that's the reason he didn't want to horn in. Bello, though, Hoof Stomp is there. Nothing to say, Remnants in as well. And Luck, he'll throw out the Remnants now, or rather the Horn, and go straight onto the Enigma Polison, where he'll find a kill.
And that's just lovely. You manage to take that tier 3 down bot. You take away the steam from the engines of AXH, stopping them from any sort of forward push. You find a nice kill on your way out, making that a pretty even trade despite losing 2 heroes. You do manage to get a bit more. You delay everything that happened after. You're still going to be pretty happy as AXH. You still have the Aegis. You have the cheese. You manage to get that one big kill on KYXY. So you have something going for you as you go into that high ground if you so force it. Again, those mid racks are pretty open. You just have to be very cautious now that your bot racks are open as well.
AXH, regardless of losing that Enigma, continue to move forward with their Centaur Velo.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They want that final bot tier 2 tower.
Trickster's Rune of Illusion.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Luck gonna move in. They'll defend the tier 2. Not gonna allow it to go down for free. In fact, they may find Velo, but Velo is forced to stampede out of there. Luckily for him, the Aghanim Scepter will allow him to just run down the cliff. And Luck still refuses to go for a heart, but rather he is going to go for a BKB instead of the Spectre. I suppose that is still a very, very good decision, though.
It definitely is. It still gives you a bit to work with. Really, really interested to see how exactly these teams do build up forward. I mean, Hustle is going for that Shadow Blade, late game Shadow Blade, which allows him to keep doing what he's doing, basically be a massive nuisance in the game. Go in and out and having to maintain detection for this one hero. It's going to be pretty effective.
He still has a solo pickoff potential, that's the thing. With Ancient
Yeah.
Seal, he can still burst them down. So I don't blame him for doing this, because if he can find a super late game kind of massive pickoff by himself, it just changes the game completely.
Actually, you know what? Why not a Nullifier? It allows you to silence someone and then get them to stop using their BKB.
Fair point.
And you can still find that solo pickoff. I think that's a lot more value, but the utility you get from the Shadow Blade is still pretty good. I think he wants to just be able to go around, get the jump, but not necessarily the kill. He has the Zeus for backup anyway.
Well, AXH, we saw a smoke come out of them. Problem is, though, Thundergod's Wrath did come in and essentially reveal exactly where they were. And of course, Reality Rift will just run the exact opposite way. As Luck just casually holding 6.5k in the bank account. He can afford the BKB right now, and he will have buyback gold with the BKB in just after this wave, I believe. And he may need it very soon as that bot lane is being pushed in. Bello, though, has lost half his HP, but they dropped the Tombstone, indicating they do want to try and take this. Haunt does come in, Stampede away straight off the bat, but the Will-O-Wisp does catch Bello out. Now they slow him down with Winter, perhaps just settle for the zombie, though no, they want the Gyro. Can they find it? The Scythe Device comes in, a full multicast coming out onto Miracle, though there's the Remnants coming in from Nothing to Say. The Skywrath, Hustler, doesn't really have a way out of this, although maybe he does. Glimmer Cape won't be enough. And Luck does pick up the BKB, is bringing it out on the Courier. Does he want to keep fighting this? Thunder Gods will give the vision. They chain him up. He'll mantra it off. And they really do want to keep this chase up. They just don't have the disable, though. Maybe they do. Diffusal, Luck, he will just Abyssal Blade up. Hex has come out again from the Ogre. Still not enough by Miracle. He'll eat the cheese just in the nick of time. Miracle still surviving, still man fighting this. They'll take down the Coddle. KYXY is going down as well, although maybe not. He'll throw out the stun. He's BKD beat up. And Velo will actually not chase any further for this Ogre. They'll just leave it be.
That's a really tough fight for RR. They're forced to buy back. The 10-second BKB did come out from Luck there. The biggest thing that they got was probably the Aegis usage. And that's it. They couldn't take care of Miracle in time. The damage doesn't feel like it's enough. And it's a bit worrying for the side of RR. Granted, their high ground defense is amazing. They've just got to hold out. They've got the Zeus. They've got the Pottle for that. You probably want to wait for that Haunt to be back up in Luck. Although he's in a spot of trouble, they do spot him out with wards. And they are under a smoke, but not going to force the issue out.
Alacrity will just TP out of the top lane as well. Got that Refresher Orb up now. Octarina as well, so it's just so much damage from him. And again, we do have a very late game in for ourselves, John, as we're at 51 minutes almost. 6k net worth lead for the side of AXH.
Tied up at 31-31 as well, so both teams are fairly even overall in the state of the game. I mean, you take a look at the objectives they've taken out. There is a slight advantage for AXH, as they do still have their tier 2s up. But again, tier 3s, both of them losing 1, no racks under any significant pressure just yet. And we are going to that point where you're going to be staring at the Gyrocopter up against the Spectre late game. Now, we did see Luck really went out last time, but you don't have that AA stopping Miracle from popping his Satanic this time around. He has been lasting a lot longer in these fights.
Yeah, we always seem to run into this stalemate.
Neither side really wants to risk it, right? They're both evenly sorted in terms of power. It's down to how the team fights unfold, and that can be a bit of a toss-up depending on who gets to jump first, how the positioning is, all of that kind of stuff. So you just want to farm up, try to build up for yourself, get as much of an advantage as you can before getting that big team fight going, and it's just a safer play. You also have Roche respawning right now, so that is up. It looks like AXH should be aware. You don't quite have that vision up there from RR, although they do smoke up.
Yeah, they are running through the mid lane. Trying to find a solo pick-off. Velo, he might be the one. He hoof stomps and blinks in. Side device comes out immediately. Luck haunts in as well. Velo, he's going to be out of this team fight immediately, but he does have buyback and he will commit. Winter, he's gone. The Ember straight onto the Skywrath, but he's okay for now. He'll just Shadow Amulet up, and perhaps he'll be able to turn this one around for Hustler. Still running away from this Ember. The TP!
What?
Does he actually
What?
get out? He does! Nothing to say, he couldn't finish it. He's got a Remnant out of there now. How does Hustler even TP away like that?
I don't know, but this guy has been doing so much for his team. It's ridiculous.
He's been hustling,
It's so
John.
much value.
Man's been hustling all
He's a
game.
Oh, don't play 9-ball with this guy, dude.
Oh, RR. So with that, you had the buyback that came out of Velo. Of course, Winter did end up going down as well. KYXY doesn't care for the cooldown. Means nothing to him. Shiver's guard coming up on KYXY as well, so he just got a lot tankier. Also going to be able to slow down the rest of AXH while being in the middle of the team fights. But Velo, I like this pickup from him. He goes for that refresher orb now. And with that, you have the double stampede opportunity, so you can kind of get in and out throughout that same team fight.
You also have around 8 seconds of damage reduction onto you, 40% less damage incoming. So that's a massive amount taken away over 8 seconds if you're going to be using it back to back. That is a lot. That could buy you the team fights, basically.
Smoke again. Alright. Gonna try and find another decent pick. Of course, if they get Velo, that's the dieback on the Centaur. That's the big one they want. Miracle is, of course, going to be pretty darn nice in the Gyrocopter to take, and, well, actually, he's the closest target. They won't quite catch him in time, but KYXY is on the chase. Of course, you can't forget about Polison either. He's had the Black Hole for a while now. Ready to throw it out on the Enigma. That concussive shot onto Winter will actually reveal exactly where the side of AXH are. It's a matter of how do you get in. Nullify now will be up on the Spectre as well, so Luck's got another form of disable. It's all out on the attack. And AXH might be up to something a bit sneaky. That top lane has been pushed in. They won't be able to get anything out of that, but they go back towards the Roshan. KYXY just running in fearlessly. He just doesn't care. He has the side device ready to go, though gets stunned up. Shiva's gun has been used. Now they jump in the backline straight away. Nothing to say, and Bello, they'll get one. Mystic Flare being dropped straight on the Gyrocopter. Miracle, he's gone. Now they want Hustler again. The black hole comes out. He found one at least from KYXY, but it doesn't matter. It was just cancelled off. With that, KYXY will end up going down. Luck's really the only one left in all this. They'll buy back on the Ogre. Luck, BKB's up. Nothing to say, trying to find a way into this. The Spectre will barely avoid that homing missile thanks to that last second of the BKB. Though there is another one coming. They won't capitalize. AXH just back to that Roshan pit. That's what they really want. Because the Aghanim's upgrade is on this Roshan as well. It looks like Reality Rift has given up on trying to contest this. They'll have to let it go, and that is going to be quite a decent win here for AXH.
Definitely so. They managed to clear out of that Roche. The Aghanims does go onto our Enigma. So you do have that Midnight Pulse on the Black Hole now. A lot more damage flying out from them. It looked pretty decent coming out from RR, especially when Hustler found that big kill. Unfortunately, it's just not enough, and they do get caught with their pants down. It's going to be a bit of a rough defense here, as their ultimates are on cooldown.
Tombstone being dropped, they want this mid-racks. Homing missiles starting to fly out from Miracle. Bello jumps in with the hoof stop at the side device from KYXY, stopping them in their tracks. Still, they've got the Spectre on lockdown. Luck, he's going to back out. They go for the Zeus in the back. Nothing to say. He'll be alright. He has an Aeon Disc anyway. He'll remnant out. They got the mid-racks. That is all they wanted. They'll back out for now, reset, and come back another time.
That gives them a massive advantage in lane. Of course, that means this mid lane is going to be pushing in constantly now. They have their own tier 2 down mid to protect them. They've got the tier 2 up top to protect them. They've gotten themselves a 14k net worth lead now. We are at 58 minutes in. This really isn't as important as it was a while ago, but you could start to see the supports pull away here. You are seeing a bit more farm on their side, especially in Paulson. He has been farming up consistently. He's in a pretty good spot. He is working towards that refresher orb next, and that will allow him to get that added control, added damage onto Reality Rift. The biggest weakness RR has is that team fight. We see it over and over again. They are relying entirely on that Will-O-Wisp for control in the wide area. And once that's gone, or once the BKBs pop up, they don't do as much, and they lack the power to take over these 5v5s.
AXH. They smell blood in the water. Of course, they still have so much potential with this Aegis. They'll smoke up. Buyback status. I don't believe there's many left on RR. You've got the Zeus and you've got the Spectre. That's really it. The rest will have to just suffice to not... Oh, Luck, he can't afford this. Hoof stomp in. Can they burst him down fast enough? There's the black hole. Hold him in place with that Midnight Pulse. It's a lot of damage on Luck, and it looks like he is gone. They go straight to the backlines as well. Nuts is falling low, nothing to say, just all by himself. He refreshes all those remnants as well. Nuts will survive for now. Aeon Disc will be there. Remnants, the Coddle, he still can't find him. He's got to get the hell out. The rest of his team are nowhere nearby. And so they got the buyback from the Spectre. They still hold on to the Aegis. They may want to reset. But I suppose at this point, AXH, it's perfect for them to just go in, make a play with this Aegis, try to get a kill onto that Spectre once again, and suddenly the game is just yours.
Definitely. It's a big win from AXH. They forced that buyback out from the Spec. Not only that, but they forced the Haunt out as well. So they've got a massive opening here where they can just abuse the map, take any other lane, or perhaps force a tier 4 after one good team fight. And there's nothing RR can really do about it anymore.
AXH getting spotted by the Thunder Gods. Remnants in. KYXY. He'll remnant back out. Nothing to say. Has only got one remnant available at the moment. Again, remnants in straight onto Nuts. He wants that Coddle so darn bad. Pops the BKB, but the Glimmer Cape is making it hard because they don't have the detection. KYXY, though, will be another nice target. And that is exactly who they'll take. They find more. Hustler still around the area. There's that Stampede being popped. They chase the Skyrath. They'll find him. The hoof stop not there from Vela. The TP. Hustler not again. He doesn't get out. No, he does. He does it to him
Hustler.
again.
How? How does this guy get away like that every single time?
Every single time. They still got KYXY. That's what's important. They found a core. They've got an opening. KYXY doesn't have buyback available. And so it does seem like the perfect time for AXH to make this play with the Aegis still intact.
It really is. They're slowly posturing up. They've shoved mid lane in. They are walking up top, so this could be the push we've been looking for.
From blaze to inferno.
Dire's top barracks are
Yeah, there you go. Miracle just working on that melee up top.
And will easily take it. The bot lane also being pushed in by those Eidolons and Alpha Wolf, and that's actually a lot of damage with those Eidolons. They get one range racks. AXH, surely you just rotate down and get the Megas. Refresher Orb now available on the Enigma as well, so double Black Hole will be up once it comes on the Courier. Who do they find? The Skyrath is going to be the target though. Remnant straight on the Coddle once again. Nuts in trouble. Nothing to say. Just popping Remnants left, right, and center. He finds the chains on the Skyrath. So close to the fountain, but he does go down. Dieback on Skyrath Mage. This could be it as the Megas are up. They're going to try and fight this RR. Velo with the hoof stop though sets up perfectly on Nuts. The Coddle will be down as well. And Luck, you're losing numbers. How much can you do by yourself? You have the Ogre up soon, you have the Coddle up once he buys back, but it looks like, well, they will now. The throne is dropping quite fast, so the Horn is there. Polos and Black Hole, he finds the Zeus. Where's the follow-up damage? It doesn't matter. The throne is down. And so both teams, in the end up finding their first victories of the closed qualifiers.
Yeah, what a series so far. One of the tightest series we've seen, both of them dragging towards those 60-minute marks. 38 to 34, really even all throughout until the last couple of team fights going the way of Alpha X, with the 36k net worth lead only coming out at the end. Otherwise, a really good showing for both teams, really tight matches. That was a pleasure to watch, and I'm glad to see both teams now have a win under the belt with a drawn series.
Yeah, well, John, we have plenty more series to come up today. The next one, very interesting, and one a lot of people have been waiting for. TNC versus GeekFam. It's one of the big matchups in this closed qualifier. It is coming up next. In fact, I believe it'll be pretty soon, because that last series we just casted did last quite a long while. I think both teams have been ready for quite a while now, so it shouldn't be too long of a wait, ladies and gentlemen. It is MLP Dota and Jonix Fire. We'll be back with you after a very short break for TNC versus GeekFam.